seeing all the people that came out, seeing all the prize support, seeing all the people, the player support. So looking forward to keeping it going.
Oh, for sure. In November? Yeah, I'll definitely be back at the one in November. My friend Chet won the raffle, so that was cool.
I just won that raffle for $1,000, and this is gonna help out a lot.
We're back.
It is finally time for the finals. Lots of finals.
Yeah, finally the finals are
here.
Here.
And honestly, I've been kind of watching some of these players, and in some way, one of them, not that unexpected. One of them, a little unexpected, but in a good way. In a good way. And I think that at this point in the tournament, 14 rounds later, the fact that these players are able to maintain their composure, it's hard work. I've played many tournaments myself.
It's sweaty rounds.
Yeah. Well, this is the sweatiest of the sweaty. We're playing for these bad boys in all the glory.
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and cut down to the feature match. Check out our players.
All right, we've had these players before. We have Mac on our right, Ethan on our left.
And Mac's going to be on the play. He wants the top seed going into the top 8.
Yeah, Mac is on a blue-red tempo deck, and Ethan is on a Yorion 4-color good stuff deck. Gotta say, I think Yorion structurally is favored because he's the control deck in the matchup, but Mac has shown some moxie here. He knows how to kind of preempt a lot of plays, so it'll be interesting to see how the players approach that. Nothing too crazy from Mac starting off with a sleight of hand. Good to just, improve. It's kind of like a mini mulligan when you think about it. You start off with the turn 1 cantrip. You kept a hand. Now you get to upgrade that hand a little bit. But the Yorion player fetching turn 1, probably going to shock in something. Wouldn't be surprised to see turn 1 Abundant Growth, get a redraw, try to do something, set up his mana.
Yeah, Ethan, only going to 19, not wanting to get too low early in the game, but the clear beatdown here is Mac, right? And he didn't have a turn 1 creature, so that's he's got to have a little breathing room. It's okay, he's not putting any pressure on me with a rag band or anything.
Look at that. He did the turn 1 Abundant Growth. The interesting thing, what we've seen, though, in a lot of Mac's games, his opponents haven't been able to deal with a resolved Murktide regen, but we know Ethan's got Subtlety and Ephemerate, and that's just going to be a beating. He's just going to run out of threats, I think, unless he just gets screwed or has some other problem.
Yeah, plenty of answers to Murktide regen in this deck, but it is 80 cards, and there are card selection, but 80 cards is a lot. So, Solitude's the best answer, but he's got to find it. It seems like he doesn't have too much trouble finding it. 80 cards is a lot, but is Yorion worth it? It seems like he thinks so.
Yeah, like I was mentioning earlier, for those who maybe didn't hear us, it's only 30% more than a 60-card deck, so every third card is going to have a little bit more variance on it. But when you have cards like Expressive Iteration that let you see 3 cards, that 30% just goes clean away.
Yeah, and there are a lot of cantrips, right? This deck just cycles through its cards, and you get more flexibility with these extra slots. So you just play more cards. You can play 4 Fury, 4 Solitude. You don't have to be like, I got to shave this to be at 60.
Looks like he's got double Omnath, so he must be setting up and anticipating a counterspell when it comes out. And just bolt him in the face. Yep, this is clear. He's the beatdown. These lightning bolts are just to get your life total closer to 0.
If he taps out here, resolving a let's say he taps out play a threat, doesn't have a counterspell open. If he can resolve that Omnath, that's going to help him not die fast. Stabilizing getting to the late game is exactly what the Yorion player wants to do.
Yeah, definitely. I'm surprised at how quick this deck can pop off its own sort of strategy. You look at the cards, you're thinking, this will be like a turn 5 or 6 deck. No, turn 4, it can start playing Yorion. It can start doing crazy stuff with an Omnath. If you just sit there and let it do something and you don't have any interaction, it's just going to value you out of the game. And he draws a 3rd Omnath. That's not super great.
Well, at least these Omnaths are good for pitching because they're every color. So, try to find some silver lining in it. But 3 Omnath in your hand. That's still 3 cards in your hand are
Well, the magic number I would say is 4, and that's the cards in Mac's graveyard that he may want to use those endurances on. if he can endurance all 4 before he gets to that magic 5th for the delve, it basically just blanks those Murktide Regents in his hand.
I'm going to go ahead and check the list here. I have seen them before. I haven't quite memorized them, but I do think they're, since you have 80 cards, there's a lot of flexibility in what you could have. They don't always line up at the right time.
Now, one of the things we see, he's going for his snow basics here, so he's going to have Ice Fang Quaddle online now. So that's another thing he's got to worry about. That's another answer to Murktide Regent.
It looks like
he's going to put
he's
Yorion
not playing
in his
any
hand.
endurance in his main board, so we're not going to see him do that. Looks like he only has that one in the side, as far as I can tell. But honestly, there's no threat, and there's been no attacks, and we're going into turn 4.
Ethan did put the Yorion in his hand, so he's setting up, saying, "Hey, look, this is my big Sky Daddy here." So he's gonna come down and reset a bunch of stuff later.
Yeah, max at 16, Ethan's at 14. Life totals aren't just sitting at 20, but there's no attacking power to put the clock on him.
Playing a fast land tap, that Spire Bluff Canal is real sad.
Well, that's a lot of respect for Omnath.
Yeah.
Here
comes Omnath. Show me your counterspell.
Oh, he knows it's like this ain't happening. But honestly, there's only 3 counterspell on the main board to deal with it.
Did he let it resolve?
I don't think he only has 3 counterspell to deal with, or Archmage's Charm. I guess he could be representing that, but
the thing to think about here though is he's got 3 of these, so he's just going to be spamming Omnaths until it is on the table.
Yeah, it's
Bolt.
It's looking pretty interesting. This is kind of reminding me of the finals of the World Championship, or maybe the Senate Finals when
it looks like he's down to
it was
4 cards.
USA mirror, and what was his name? Ben Stark and
Expressive Iteration from Mac.
Triple Bolt.
Yeah, he's got the triple bolt there. But
I don't blame him for using him. There's not really much else. The only card he'd probably want to bolt is the Dissertation game would be maybe a Teferi.
Yeah, he's going to be digging for another answer to Omnath. He doesn't know that he has 3, but he's got to be expecting, if he just ran that Omnath out, expected him to counter it. Like, he's sort of, giving those subtle signs that, hey, I've got other threats. I'm expecting you to take this one, and then I'll get my others through.
He did mention to me that this is not his favorite matchup. Blue-red is threat light, and Yorion is threat kill.
Yeah. All right, we're probably going to see another Omnath here. Just passing from Mac. Counterspell. Okay, this one does get countered. Plays a land. Sends it back to Mac. Mac can't be feeling good about this game one. He's applying no pressure, and if he just sits back and lets Ethan do whatever he wants, Ethan's going to win this game.
Yeah, I'm seeing what he's saying. Like, sometimes they only have 1 or 2 threats, and his deck is all answers.
Yeah, it's not even just that. It's that the rest of his deck, besides his threats, are just answers. But when the Ethan's deck, when his answers are his threats at the same time, it's just more efficient use of his cards.
Yeah, it's pretty much, that's what those elementals are. They're answers and threats. That's what makes them so strong. And the fact that you can efficiently get them in play for 1 mana with Ephemerate.
All right, resolving that Expressive Iteration, playing his land.
Ethan is at 12 already. So it's not impossible he could try to steal the game.
Murktide Regent, there it is. The big boy. Gonna resolve.
I wonder if... would you want to Teferi him back? Is that your favorite answer? Or would you just rather Solitude? Solitude, that's gaining 8 life. But he doesn't really care about racing the life total. He just wants to win on cards.
All right, there's an Omnath. He's basically saying, I don't care, you can hit me.
So see, when he gains 4 life, that's going to put him up to 16. If he gains the 4, which he is. Okay, so he's going to go up to 16. Then he's going to fetch back down to 15. So we're tied at 16 right now. If he chooses to fetch now, it won't really make a big difference in terms of this Murktide clock.
Yeah, but what we could see is fetch into hard-casted Solitude, and that would be a pretty good play from Ethan's side.
Let's see, how many cards does Mackie have left? Just 2? I mean,
looks like he's got 3 cards.
He's
in
got
his
3
hand.
cards. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's not just game over, but it's bad.
And he does have that one blue open, probably for the Spell Pierce, but if you're just jamming creatures, doesn't really matter, does it?
No, yeah, this Spell Pierce not looking good.
It's what we call virtual card advantage, where you can make the cards that they still have in their hand blank, so it's like they don't even have a card in their hand.
Let's see. I don't know if he actually has Spell Pierce, but I think I may have saw Ragavan's name, but that's a little late. Ragavan looks pretty bad on this board.
That's a sad Ragavan. Or he could hard cast his Fury. Fury wouldn't be terrible.
Fury, no, I don't know if you need to use Fury yet. Well, is that, oh, you put Yorion in his hand, right? So
yeah.
Well, he doesn't have Solitude. One Fury isn't going to deal.
Assuming that he doesn't have any answers.
Two-turn clock with this Murktide, so that is a priority to get rid of it.
Not necessarily, because this Murktide's what, 7? He's going to hard cast the Yorion.
So here's something interesting.
He's going to draw another card.
This will draw another card.
And then he can crack the fetch and gain another 4 life.
I wonder, does he gain 4 more? Because it's his second land.
If it's the second time that ability is activated.
That's right, yeah. So there are some weird rules interactions with Omnath, especially if somehow you get multiple Omnaths and lands entering at the same time through, I forget the name of the card, but the red suspend card. There's some weird rules interactions with that, but he decides to go ahead and do it. He finds the extra 2 cards, actually. Yeah, he still has that Abundant Growth in play. Fairy is a good answer.
Double to fairies.
Fairy seems a little redundant, but that's okay. So
so he's not going to crack his fetch. Going to save it for the next turn so he can get double Omnath triggers.
He doesn't really need the Abundant Growth anymore since Yori's already come into play, so cracking fetch won't be a big deal.
And honestly, Yorion may just be on block duty, but if he can survive this hit with the 4 life from Omnath, then he could potentially, bounce Yorion with his own Teferi and recast him to get another.
That's like
blink.
ultimate grind.
Yeah,
if you're doing that.
I think he's just trying to do everything he can to find an answer to this Murktide Regent. I thought I saw Solitude in his hand, but I guess he doesn't have it.
He can afford to take 1 hit, but
this is where that 30% is adding up, and he's got the Fury, but not the Solitude.
So let me think. So if he fetches and gains 4, he'll be 18. So I guess that's 3 turns, assuming he doesn't do anything.
No, he'll be at 19 if he fetches. Oh, you're correct. He'll lose a 1. He'll gain the 4. He'll be at 18. He'll take 7, or no, he'll take 8.
So it's a 3-turn clock, just as now, but that's assuming he
Yorion can block.
Oh, Yorion does have flying. Man, sometimes Yorion's one of those cards, like, this is just me, but it costs 5, but it feels like he costs 6. Or like back when Olivia Voldaren was in Standard, it feels like it's a 5-drop, but it's just a 4-drop. Like, those cards that feel like there should be more, and they're not. That's what makes them so good.
Right, we are cracking to draw a card.
That's never a good sign.
Yeah, no, that... You got to be feeling good about your life when your opponent is like burning their lands to get more card draws.
The fact that he's at 5 lands and still has 3 cards in it's not too bad.
Now, we did see that Spell Pierce in Max hand, but again, if he just keeps jamming creature answers, not going to be a huge...
the fact that Spell Pierce and Force Negation doesn't answer the elementals, it's just so good.
And here's another big brain play we could see coming. If he decides not to attack this turn, was a second Murktide Regent. If he decides not to attack this turn, and Mac just leaves back his Murktide Regent, he can swing the Yorion, and if he blocks, he can Fury and kill it.
Well, let's see. So Mac's at 14, and there's no way there's just no way he's going to die. Well, no, that's not true. If he can get all the abilities, he'll take 4 to the dome from that Omnath for a 12. That's still not lethal. So I don't see a good reason not to attack with this massive Murktide Regent.
Yeah, that's
Let's see, 9, 10, 11, 12. Jeez.
Yeah, he's just chumping at this point.
Yeah. So this is pretty scary. He needs to find something. See, this is something I like about this version of a Delver-style deck. It has a really big over-the-top creature that can just close the game out from certain positions that a normal Delver deck wouldn't be able to do. This is a good answer. Oh, Spell Pierce. So what's he representing here? Because he has 4 mana. It's like, okay, you're going to have to use that mana up and not do anything else.
Well, he's got an uncracked fetch and another fetch in his hand, so he could... Yeah, he just pays the 2.
I was trying to think.
Bounce is a big one.
Is it just that you're making him do it, or I guess it puts another spell in the graveyard to delve?
Potentially, yeah. Helps him recast
but this will help him survive for sure. And I guess he's using spell beers because it wouldn't do anything else anyway.
Right. But now he's locked out of his own counterspells, so that's another thing to keep in mind. So does he attack the Teferi?
Hard to say at the moment. It kind of sucks to send 8 damage or 7 damage at Teferi, but
so he's shocking in up to 18, down to 16.
Down to 16, and
he still has his land for turn. Remember, that was his previous Wooded Foothills he had saved from the last turn.
I'm trying to think if I'm Mac and I'm playing this deck and I'm in this situation and I'm like, okay, I need to find these cards. What are those cards? What are my best outs in sequence of cards? I mean, if you're at the point.
Oh, and he plays a second Teferi.
He just burns the second Teferi. He's like, I don't even care, bro. These draw me a card. So it turns out having an 80 card deck ain't so bad when you're just drawing cards all the time.
Yeah, it turns out it's not that bad.
Okay, so let's see. We've got
attacks with Omnath.
It looks like he has an Ephemery in his hand.
Down to 10.
And so he could bring a Fury in play, but I don't know how good that is.
I'm curious why he didn't play a land that turn. It would have given him 4 life, put him to 20, and he could have cracked it on his opponent's turn to gain another 4 life.
Maybe he's kind of just realizing, hey, I dealt with these Murktides. My life total is not that important anymore.
That is fair. He could recast them. He could recast one of them at least, but looks like he's going to play a dashed Ragavan and attack to attack him.
Lightning bolt.
Lightning bolt.
You know, for a little bit, I thought that was a Fury there, but it kind of turns out it was good. It wasn't.
And it looks like he's scooping up.
Yeah, the writing's on the wall at this point.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's going to be game number 1 for our finalists here. We're going to go ahead and pull up their deck list to get an idea of what their possible sideboards they could be bringing in. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, we are back with some sideboarding decisions need to be made, and we were looking at Mac while he was trying to figure out what he's going to bring in. He doesn't seem much he likes. I mean, even Blood Moon against 4-color deck doesn't seem great because he's playing so many basics.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could try if you're on the play and you get to slam it. It can maybe deter them from some of their fetch lands. That would be a problem.
I think I like the one of Torp Orb. He's playing 8 elementals. 4 Omnath has a draw card enter. Now, the interesting thing is, though, Omnath's landfall thing will still work. But I think it's worth it.
What we're seeing from these blue-red decks, right, they're kind of sitting right in between a control and an aggro deck. So sometimes they have to adjust and become the aggressive deck. Sometimes they have to adjust and be the control deck. Looking at the sideboard here with the Recall, Prismari Command, Engineered Explosives, Force Negation, Flusterstorm, Jace, Mystical Dispute. These are all control cards. So what it looks like Mac did here is he decided that there are going to be matches where he has to take the control role. He's just going to shore those up in his sideboard. So what that really means is he's the aggro deck in this matchup. So he basically has no sideboard. Yeah, he has a Torp Orb. Blood Moon has some effect, but structurally, he doesn't have anything to stop, to turn his deck into more of an aggressive deck. You could use the Prismari Command and keep in the Lightning Bolts and kind of try a burn approach and hope you get, Ragavan, DRC, a bunch of Lightning Bolts, and Prismari Command.
You know what makes that difficult? Omnath.
Yeah, Omnath.
And honestly, Solitude has lifelink.
Yeah,
it's not looking great. The best thing he needs a 1-drop on turn 1. Like, he needs to put pressure on. I don't like going in the control plan because everything is a freaking 2-for-1.
Yeah.
It's just
I mean, this is where the blue-red tempo decks that played Snapcaster Mage had a much better option to just pivot. They could keep their lightning bolts in and go Snapcast, bolt, snap, bolt. That's 10 damage if you've ever done the math. It's 10 damage, especially even if they have another creature on the field with 2 power. Like if you've got Ragavan out and you go bolt, snap, bolt, 10 damage. That is really fast pressure, and that's just not something Matt can do today. So I'm not really liking the odds here, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. So if you're Ethan, do you think about this in advance and not even bother bringing your own counters in? Just stick to your 2-for-1s? Or
I think you bring in Veil of Summer. I think that's hilarious. It's a 1 mana, beats everything he's going to do to try to stop you, and you draw a card. Like, yeah, of course.
Maybe. I mean, there's not a whole lot of counters in the main board, but when it's good, it's really good.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't do anything with the creatures. I think honestly, if I'm playing against a deck like Death Shadow, Murktide Region, any of the like low threat density decks, I just want anything that can kill a creature. If it kills a creature, it's going inside. So Engineered Explosive seems really good. Kills 1-drops. Honestly, that might be it though. Endurance is okay, actually. Blocks.
Yeah, Endurance is okay. Like I said, I still like the Veil of Summer because his way of like stopping you with counter spells. But he may be siding some of those out. Like looking at Mac's list, I bet he took out his own Engineered Explosives. He may be dropping the Unholy Heats because, like, yeah, they can pop an Omnath, but how good is that really?
It looks like they're about ready to shuffle up and present. I'm wondering if the blue-red can win. Its best odds are on the play, which it will be, and maybe Ragavan into like DRC burn spell that can drop you to 10 pretty fast, and then if you can drop a 8-powered Murktide Region, they will have trouble answering the little guys and the big guy. That's like your best case scenario, but that's like, I guess, this close to a god draw as you're going to get.
Yeah, like I said, just structurally the matchup doesn't really favor Mac's deck because he doesn't have anything in his sideboard that helps him become the aggro deck.
And you know what makes that more difficult? Even when you have the best draw and on efficient, like 1, 2, 3. Mm-hmm. You know what's good against that? 0 mana answers.
Yeah. Like the tempo plus the long game that the Yorion deck can do just is so much.
One of the best early plays this Yorion player can do is Elemental Ephemerate, because then you also have a threat.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I don't see it working out so great.
That's really the rock and hard place that you get in when you're playing these tempo decks, because your way to stop that is counterspells, but counterspells make you bad in the long game, and there's not really a good right answer. Like I said, he just has to basically draw all of his... Oh, looks like Max mulliganing. This is not a spot you want to be in.
Yeah, he's already going to have trouble keeping up on cards.
Looks like we got Double Solitude in Ethan's hand.
Oh, jeez. So he's good against the best possible... Like, the way he would lose, he's good.
Yeah.
There's no good way to stop that.
Well, actually, looking at it, I don't know if I see 2 other white cards in his hand, so he's got to hope he top decks white cards.
Yeah, but I mean, just having the 1 Solitude is like, okay, I can breathe.
Yeah,
I can just step back. I can develop my board, not worried about leaving mana open. Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of lands.
Now, what he could do, here's a spicy play. He could just put Yorion in his hand to be a pitch card for the Solitude if he needs it.
I think he brought in Mystical Dispute, so that's a lot of respect for Murktide Regent, which is fair, but it also can counter back on counters. There's not that many counters out of this red deck.
Yeah, these blue-red decks don't feel all that different from the Arc-like Phoenix Thing in the Ice decks we used to see. They just kind of shifted around what their threats are. And those decks always had a rough time against decks that could go long game and just outgrind them.
Yeah, they're both kind of threat light.
Ragavan, though, this is what he wants to do. But
respect.
He's pitching Solitude to Solitude.
He's like, this is how I lose, so I'm not going to let it happen. That's a lot of respect. He might have a Wrenn and 6 in his hand. No, wait. There's almost no way he has Wrenn and 6 because he would not have done that if he had Wrenn and 6.
Looks like Mac missed his second land drop. This game could be over real quick.
Yeah. I don't think he found it. Oh, he did. Okay, that's good.
Looks like he found his land.
That's good.
Second.
Right, so just setting up. I mean, it's not as good as a creature, but at least he's doing something. Oh
no!
He's going to dispute it.
He sees him that he almost missed the second land drop, and then he's sleight of handing again. 3 cards left in hand. This tells his opponent I'm looking for something. I don't really have what I
Okay, never
want.
mind.
But then he gets the Triumph instead.
He's not going to dispute it. He's just like, I'll shoot my tap land. You can have your cantrip. I think he wants to try to get a Dragon Switch Channeler down and sculpt his draws because he needs a clock, but he can't afford to draw blanks at this point. He's so low on cards.
It's like maybe another mystical dispute on
Yeah,
his side.
didn't get a good look at it, but he's got a lot of lands. There's no way this is actually a Wrenn and 6, right? Because wouldn't you just Wrenn and 6 away the Ragavan and keep 2 cards in your hand?
Maybe, or maybe he was just trying to respect the tempo that that could represent.
Oh yeah, no, never mind. He didn't want to get hit once, so he's like, I'm on the draw. I don't want you hitting me even one time. That's a lot of respect.
Yeah, putting that fetch land back. This is going to guarantee he curves smoothly into his late game. But look at his hand right now. I don't see anything that's going to really dig hard for him. I don't see anything that's setting up the late game. He's just hoping to win off his top decks at this point. Now, he did fetch the basic green, which is going to be a problem for the Blood Moon plan if that's what Mac chose to do. But it looks like he's got nothing. He's just chilling.
Yeah, but that's not the spot he wants to be in.
All right.
It's not like the Wrenn and 6 player is going to miss
it
my
back
drops.
his fetch land again. Passing. Keeping his options open.
He is technically revealing more information that way, but if he has a specific plan to get certain colors, it's worth it.
Archmage Charm to draw cards.
That's a Flusterstorm. Oof. Talk about being out efficient. That is a word, out efficiented.
He's basically told Ethan multiple times, I have nothing in my hand. And he's doing it again.
Oh, he'll trade 1-for-1 all day with anything.
Dig, and more dig. And Ethan's figured it out, I think. I think he's going to go for the Mystical Dispute here.
Yeah, getting another basic. So Blood Moon's not really a thing right now.
Yeah.
He'll trade 1-for-1 anything he can do at this point. It's like, I'm just going to run you out of cards.
Oh, there's a Fury.
So Yorion
to hand.
It's like, yeah, I'll take a turn off.
Play land. Tapped. Plus,
this would be a good time to land Murktide, though.
This value engine is just working for him right now.
Does he have Teferi in his hand? I didn't get a good look. If he has Teferi, I feel good about this. If he doesn't, a Murktide could be a little scary. No. Well, he could actually saw a Murktide here.
Another expressive iteration.
That's absolutely the best thing he could do here. Just hope he has nothing.
It's like he's got an Unholy Heat and maybe some other answer cards that do nothing right now.
Yeah, Unholy Heat's not what you want to see. I mean, it can take out Wrenn and 6. Actually,
we may be getting an ultimate from Wrenn and 6 here pretty soon, and that's going to be almost all she needed to write. A value deck getting to get more value out of its value. Yo, dog, I heard you like value.
Well, I'm not, even though it's a little early to tell, I'm not feeling very good about blue-red in this matchup.
For sure. And this is all about the sideboards here. Like I was mentioning earlier, there's really nothing he could have sideboarded in against a deck this hard and this much of a late game deck. This was one of those things where he kind of lost this before he even played the game.
Yeah, I talked to him, and he knew that blue-red had a somewhat soft matchup to blue-white. And since blue-red's one of the more popular decks, there was going to be a lot of blue-white, and he was right in making that call. So he stacked his sideboard to try to beat blue-white, but it doesn't work the same against this Yorion deck because everything is a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
Blood Moon's pretty good against blue-white. Not like the best, but it's not good at all. This deck plays way too many basics. He almost certainly brought in his Jace.
Emrakul.
Torporb's good, but he can't afford to let this resolve. That's going to turn off a lot of his answers.
So he has that Emrakul in his hand. So he brought in Emrakul, which is actually not bad. He said he brings it in against control decks, but when you know your opponent has a lot of really specific spells that are answer spells, being able to just like use their stuff on their own stuff, always good.
Yeah, and it's a cast trigger, so counter spells do not stop it.
All right, he's hard casting the Fury. That is a clock. Fury has a double strike, so that's 6 power. That is a 4-turn clock.
Yeah, I don't think he has Delirium yet. I see Sorcery Instant.
Yeah, he's got Sorcery Instant. He can easily fetch to get land.
A lot of respect, though. He's like, you know what? This game's going long. I'm just going to play this Fury. I don't care if Torpor was there. Actually, if anything, the fact that Torpor was there was beneficial because Fury has to target something. And it being the only target, it wouldn't be castable on the Spore Save. He's like, hey, I'm just going to play my Double Striker.
Unholy Heat coming out, trying to take down.
He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to ultimate, so he's just buying some time at this point.
2 cards in the
I think he has a Murktide. I guess not.
A big Murktide could at least block the Fury
Another
for
Fury.
a couple turns, but
I guess you just play it, right? He has another Fury. Yeah, he's just like, I'm just going to attack you. You're not doing anything.
okay, that makes it a 2-turn clock.
Yeah, Ethan's sitting at 15, Max only at 14, so not quite a 1-turn clock. But if he can somehow, I don't think he has any burn. Double check.
That one of Torpor Orb coming through, though. A lot of his value is
He does
from
have
the
Lightning Bolt.
battlefield.
If he can find a Lightning Bolt, he'll win.
So counterspelling the Fury.
Yeah, he's like, that's just too much power. It's getting real tense. This is potentially the final game for Mac if he can't pull it
Murktide
out.
Regent.
It's the clock he needs, but it's going to.
Oh, and
be
looking at it,
difficult
when you think about it, right? All that stuff to become the control deck. If Murktide Regent is your payoff, that's not terrible. It's a big threat that has a lot of stuff behind it. So we're looking at a 7/7 Murktide.
I think that's what he's trying to decide. He can make it an 8/8, right? But he wants Delirium, so he's trying to decide.
Oh, they're talking about the Torpor Orb.
Well, no, it's not. It'll work. It's not actually a trigger.
But he won't
It's
get any
worded-
bigger.
Well, no, so he gets bigger by cards leaving his graveyard, so I think he can. But it's worded kind of strangely. It will work. I hope they get that ruling right. It doesn't go on the stack, so Torpor Orb does not stop it.
Yeah, it's basically like attached to his delve. It happens during the cast.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we got that all cleared up. That can pretty easily block the Fury. Oh, Ice Fang Quaddle is a good answer. I don't know if he'll have the Death Touch, though. What is this? Is this Yorion? It's not going to do anything with that Torpor Orb.
Yeah, he has to keep that in mind. Oh, by countering the Fury, that gets him a little bit closer to the Miracle.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. At this point, I think that's what he's trying to cast. But what's he going to do? No, we just played Yorion.
Cast Yorion. He's on chump block duty for a turn until he can get more. He needs one more. Honestly, he could have fetched a basic Snowland here and had Quaddle. So that's probably what he's thinking. He's going to try to bait him into thinking
that's very
this
clever.
is a chump block. So he's just going to attack to get rid of the Yorion, and then surprise, here's a Quaddle.
He's throwing his Yorion away to try to put him in a tricky place. That hey, this is a good attack to kill Yorion.
Yeah, because if Yorion lives, that's 10 power, right? And Max only at 14. He's at 13 now. He's fetching. Getting a basic islands. Man, if he's bluffing and gets him with the Quaddle here, that is a big brain play.
Like, part of me wants to see it happen, but the other part of me is like, man, that would really be a blowout.
All right, playing another Murktide Regent.
Yeah, that will grow the first one. Oh, it's happening.
Oh, it's happening. And that 4/4 Murktide can't even block Yorion. Yorion's a 4/5.
That's embarrassing.
This is really embarrassing. No, Mac's playing his heart out. He's doing the best he can. It's a rough matchup.
No, I mean, I don't blame Mac. I mean, he's making the right decisions. It's just not working out for him.
Death Touch.
Not embarrassing to Mac, but very embarrassing to Murktide region. It thinks it's the big boy in town, and this, I think Yorion's like a
No
spirit
cards
or
in
something.
hand for Mac. This is
Oh,
just,
and he found a Teferi. That's like...
Yeah. He's going to bounce the Murktide Regent, come in for you for 10.
And
does he have the Lightning Bolt in hand?
And Rim 6 is in ultimate range. It's just like all bad things happening. Although I don't think there's really anything worth retracing. Or maybe counter spells, I don't know.
All right, there's a Teferi.
Do you just go for the attack, or... Yeah.
Bounce the Murktide Regent. Draw a card. He's going to play Prismatic Ending on the Torpor Orb.
So flexible.
Attack for 10.
10, that's going to put him down to 3. I don't think there's any outs here.
Well, he can definitely buy himself a turn with the Emrakul if Mac draws into something.
Can he cast it?
Yeah,
well, no,
I mean,
wait,
he's got...
No, he has the Emrakul.
Yeah, he has the Emrakul, and he's got enough mana, even if he doesn't have the...
I don't think there's any outs for Mac, though. Yeah, there's nothing.
Oh, but there's a handshake.
That's gonna be the tournament.
Ethan
and
is
Yorion
our
is
champ.
going to take the whole thing down. Well, back here at the booth, we're going to bring Ethan up here, talk to him about his tournament experience, and see what it was like to choose a deck like that in a field as efficient and low to the ground as Modern is right now.
Yeah, I mean, he mentioned he brought it to fight the control deck, so it looks like it fights the other decks pretty well, if I'm being honest.
Maybe
we saw it against
showing...
Hammer Time, we saw it against Blue-Red.
Yeah, maybe showing the pendulum swinging, Ragavan might be getting dethroned after all.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of Blue-White and Yorion, so we're going to be happy to hear from Ethan.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, be sure to stay tuned in for that winner's interview. I am here with the winner of the 20K Modern Tournament at the Pro Support Accessories TCG Weekend. Congratulations,
Thank you,
Ethan. I have a little something for you. It's quite pretty. Wish I had one myself, but very well earned. You know, I thought we were playing Modern today, not Commander.
Oh, yeah, no, I decided to sign up an 80 card deck, and dang, this thing's heavy.
You have an 80 card and a Commander. So, Yorion, an interesting choice. You're not... For a long time, Modern has been low to the ground, Ragavan, one drops. And you're just like, I'm going to go way over all that. I don't care what you're doing, Ragavan. I've got Fury.
I got Fury.
So, what do you think about this kind of tournament? We have everything else going on.
Oh, just as far as like I expected a lot of control, so I just wanted to go above the actual control decks. So I chose Yorion just because it has a better late game than the actual control decks, and hope to dodge like the aggro decks, basically like Burn and Escape Ship.
Yeah, and actually I saw a decent amount of that, so it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, no, definitely it did work out. Really
So
well.
we already teched your deck. You gave us an insight of like why you chose these cards and this quantity and these sideboard cards especially. I saw you bring in Emrakul against the blue-red deck, and we were looking at his sideboard, and he really stacked against control because he knew that it was a soft matchup for him and that he would play against it a lot. But it doesn't really translate to your deck as well because even though you are the control role, everything's a 2-for-1 in your deck.
Yes.
So with that in mind, you knew he was the beatdown. So what led you to want to bring in the Emrakul in that matchup?
So I just brought in the Emrakul just because I just thought of Blood Moon. I saw that he has 3 the previous game when he played Jund, so I was just like
play through
the Blood Moon. I was like, oh, my fetch lands will be turned off, so hopefully I'll get to like 9 mana, and then I just have my graveyard and just cast an Emrakul, take his turn.
Yeah, and I gotta say, my favorite play. You were, I don't know how many levels you were deep, but you played a blank Yorion into his Torpor to bait an attack from his Murktide Regent, so you could flash in your Icewind Quaddle and take it out.
Yes.
And we were calling that. We're like, oh, please do that. Please do that. It was so awesome.
No, definitely. That was like the best play there. I was like, if he just attacks into it, thinks I have nothing, it's just game over.
Yeah, he was so low on cards at that point.
Yeah.
And he's so threat light that if he loses that, his massive Yorion, Murktide Regent, it's just over.
It was definitely.
And I think Torp Orb, it's not like lights out against me, it's like good, but
Good, yeah.
he just didn't have anything else to bring in. We would look in the sideboard, it's like he can't afford to just be holding up mana for counterspells.
Yeah, definitely.
So it was mostly counterspells. So I guess he probably like brought that and Jace, and like that's it.
Yeah, that Jace, Torpor, Blood
Maybe
Moons.
Blood Moon. I don't know. Like, he had a lot of basics.
No, I know.
It's
I
battle on the
usually-
draw too, so
Definitely.
maybe take it out if he happens to win one game. But
Definitely. No, I do fetch for my basics a lot, just because as far as playing the deck, I was like, oh, I just need to get my basics out just so that I can activate my Waddles.
yeah, for sure.
And then just there, I knew he didn't see that I had already 2, and I could get the 3rd one, and it just blew him out. I won me the game.
All right. Well, there's another one is in March. I hope to maybe see you there. And that is going to be it for our Modern 20K. Be sure to tune in to our next one. I think it's going to be around weekend of March 19th and 20th. So be sure to look out for that. We hope to see you there.